Philadelphia made two roster moves on Wednesday that have major implications on the status of CJGJ. All the trade frenzy surrounding this new edge rusher is a lot more smoke than actual fire. Plus, when Nakobe Dean asked Nick Sirianni to change this week that worked in a major way last year, the injury updates for both sides that Philly fans are gonna love, and while another all-hands offensive meeting might finally have the Birds back on track, I'm Thomas Mott, this is a Thomas Mott Show. Well, everybody outside the NovaCare complex is worried about trade this and trade that, and play calling this and execution that. Internally, the Eagles themselves just confirmed two big changes implemented just this week, both at practice and in meetings, that have the players themselves extremely confident they're about to turn things around. Plus, Howie Roseman's two moves on Wednesday that revealed his exact thoughts on the status of CJGJ and the injury updates the Eagles were hoping for and the Vikings have been dreading. There's a bunch going on. First, though, I was actually given one more $50 gift card to Game Changers, the incredible t-shirt company I partnered with the past couple of weeks. If you want to win that bad boy down below, drop a like, comment Game Changers in the comment section, and watch my show on Saturday because I'm going to reveal the winner of the Jordan Spector, Jason Kelsey giveaway from earlier this week and the gift card winner to Game Changers on that show. Now, first things first, Philadelphia did fill their two empty practice squad spots we talked about on Tuesday's show yesterday, aka Wednesday morning. But to the surprise of nobody actually in the know, neither of them were named CJ Gardner-Johnson, as Howie added defensive lineman Titus Leo and tight end Jaheim Bell. While that doesn't fully guarantee that the now free agent Gardner-Johnson won't ever come back to Philadelphia, I think it's pretty clear that if Howie was going to bring him back and wanted him in Philadelphia, it would have happened on Wednesday. And the fact he didn't should put to bed, at least for now, any idea of number 8's return to the city of brotherly love. What's far more exciting than any potential move, at least at this point, was the injury updates from Wednesday's and Thursday's first practices back following the mini-bye, as Landon Dickerson, Quinyon Mitchell, Zach Bond, Jalen Carter, and Jordan Davis all practiced, after Q, LD, and JC basically missed the Birds' Week 6 embarrassment at MetLife Stadium. Landon Dickerson and Q were both limited at Wednesday's practice yesterday, but both are fully expected to play on Sunday versus the Minnesota Vikings. And in Quinyon Mitchell's case, that is absolutely massive news, and it means hopefully you have Q shadowing Justin Jefferson and not the combination of Adoree Jackson and Keely Ringo. Although I would argue the even more important Eagle back at practice on Wednesday was the return of Jalen Carter, who's been limited basically all year long with a shoulder and new heel issues, and finally sounds like he might be as close to 100% as he's been since maybe April this past year.
I feel good. I feel it. I'm going to play this week.
Okay, and then how about the shoulder?
Shoulders feel good. Got some shots and stuff like that, so it's feeling better. Almost like I had a bye week. You know, I'm off, I didn't play, and I'm back this week, so I got more rest time, etc. But, I'm ready to play.
For all the defensive issues in Philadelphia the past 2 weeks, there's a real argument that most, if not all of them, can be solved by a healthy and fully violent Jalen Carter. Something that Brian Baldinger told WIP yesterday hasn't really existed at all through any games to start this season.
I mean, I'm just telling you, Ike, like he hasn't made one play. He hasn't shown any violence out there. He doesn't look like he's in great shape. He's a guy that had played last year. In a couple of games, he played every snap.
Every snap, yep.
Yeah. Every snap. Like, you don't see defensive tackle. I mean, you see Max Crosby doing the edge. You don't see tackles do that.
Yeah.
And he played every snap in some games last year. Whether he had to or not, he did.
Yep.
You don't see the conditioning. You don't see the violence. You don't see him splitting double teams. Like, he hadn't done anything, in my mind, to, I mean, he was an ascending player. We thought he would be a dominant player. He doesn't look anything like that right now. So, I don't know what's going on there, but he's not been the same player. Now, I know the shoulder's been bothering him, the heel. He looks like he's a little chunky, so the defensive coordinators kind of called him out on that a little bit. So there's a lot of time to get going here, but he needs to get going soon.
And yet, despite the film not showing the same 2024 game record Jalen Carter we all came to know and love, the numbers when Carter has actually been on the field versus off have been astronomically different. With the Cowboys and Giants games, a great example of just how much they missed him defending against the run and also actually getting to the quarterback in pass rush situations. I think this Sunday we're finally going to see the Jalen Carter we came to expect at the end of last season. Like, he was an absolute game wrecker, especially in the postseason. Think about the Rams game. He basically won that single-handedly, and yet this year, injuries, at least in my opinion, the injuries have been the main issue for him. A, not being on the football field, and B, when he's been out there, he's just been another run-of-the-mill defensive tackle. Better than the rest, but still not the game wrecker we needed. If he can get back on the field this Sunday, sounds like he is, and actually play up to his standard, the Birds are going to win, and this defense is going to go back to looking like a top 10 unit that they had at times the past couple of weeks before they lost the 2 games versus Denver and the Giants. Also, want to give a massive shout out to the sponsor of today's video, SeatGeek. October is already here, which is crazy, by the way, but that also means we only have 3 more months of regular season Eagle games left. If you've been wanting to go to the link and see the birds in person, SeatGeek is here to help. Finding great deals on Eagles tickets, it's super simple thanks to SeatGeek's rating system where deals are ranked from a scale of 1 to 10. With green dots making it even easier, indicating the best deals, yellow and red, yeah, I normally pass on those. Plus, SeatGeek also offers other non-Eagle events in Philadelphia like the Phillies, Flyers, and Sixers, as well as comedy shows, music festivals, and more with over 70,000 listed events. And of course, my promo code is still going on right now with SeatGeek. I know a bunch of you guys have used this one. It's absolutely fantastic. So use promo code Mott10 at checkout to get 10% off your next purchase of Eagle tickets or any other tickets with SeatGeek. Just pull your phone, download the SeatGeek app on the App Store, and then go ahead and add my promo code Mott10 to your account. Then it's automatically applied at checkout, and boom, 10% off your Eagles tickets. You'll thank me later. Promo code Mott10. I love SeatGeek. I know a lot of you guys love it too. Check them out right now. What also cannot be overstated at all is the current quarterback drama happening in Minnesota, as what appeared to be a very cut and dry decision on starting Carson Wentz this week over JJ McCarthy has now become a very hot button topic for the Birds' opponent this Sunday. For example, Vikings head coach Kevin O'Connell refused on Wednesday to name a starter, and even took out his frustration on a Vikings reporter when asked very simply, hey, is it gonna be Carson Wentz this week?
Where do things stand as far as your starting QB for Sunday, Kevin?
They stand in the same place they did Monday when I answered that question.
How are you handling practice in terms of reps and between Carson and JJ?
Yeah, they're both going to get work, both going to get reps, and very much looking forward to our whole team getting back out there.
And while that might sound like Kevin O'Connell's just trying to hide from Vic Fangio who the starter is going to be, actual reports, a deeper dive in the situation shows nobody in Minnesota really knows who's going to start, at least as of this morning on Thursday. I mean, for example, JJ McCarthy was limited on Wednesday and Carson Wentz was a full participant. That sounds simple enough, right? Well, right after practice, ESPN's Jeremy Fowler reported that Wentz has a, quote, pretty painful shoulder issue. And at the same time, JJ McCarthy acknowledged during his Wednesday's press conference that his current ankle injury is still not 100% and that he's still 2 weeks away from his doctor's projected 6-week timeline. The truth of the matter is right now, nobody knows who's starting in Minnesota this weekend. There also was a Viking edge rusher who basically said he expects JJ McCarthy to go ahead and play, then walked it back on a podcast as if he revealed something he shouldn't have. My best guess is it's going to be Carson Wentz because McCarthy's ankle does not appear to be 100%, but there's a lot of drama internally about who's going to be the starter on Sunday, and my hope is, whoever it is, the Birds can get after, attack, force turnovers, and win this game. Now, flying back to Philadelphia, and 2 big changes happened internally this week to try to go ahead and get the team back on track that not a lot of people are talking about. The first was the rumored all-hands offensive meeting where KP, Nick Sirianni, and the rest of the Birds offense painstakingly went over the first 6 weeks to try to figure out what's been working, what's not, and what their identity is.
Just got to continue to get better, and I love, the conversation that we have. I love where the mindset that we're going to, but at the end of the day, we got to go out there and execute it, and it's going to come down to tough detailing together, and that's the mindset that we're going to continue to have.
When I think about that meeting, I just think about the direction I guess that we're going to go in, coming out and obviously establishing ourselves and really kind of just searching for that identity of what we want to be as an offense. I think we've shown a lot of different things out there. We've put a lot of different things on tape, and we haven't been consistent enough.
Of course, will one meeting be enough to turn things around on offense? Honestly, I have no idea. But I do know that the last time the Birds went to an extended period of time off, around the same time last season, Lane Johnson had a meeting with then OC Kellen Moore and demanded that the team shift its identity to running first, which naturally jump-started the beginning of a historical offensive season in Philadelphia. But whether or not it's running more or being less predictable, both of which I think are important, the guys on offense did admit after practice yesterday, no one in the building is panicking and everybody's expecting a turnaround on Sunday.
We're not letting a loss just humble us, and you can't let it humble. You got to keep going, and continue to find ways. This team is fine. This team is motivated and trying to get on the same page.
You can't listen to all the outside noise. When you watch the game, we're so close in so many spots, and there's a lot of good stuff you can take away from it. But at the end of the day, you want to teach on all the bad stuff and get that stuff corrected and fixed. We just want to, when the play call is made, we need to execute and do well. And you got to check your box off and do your job.
The other big change that I really liked from yesterday's practice was the official removal of walkthrough Wednesdays. Philadelphia has historically kept the pads off for lighter practices on the Wednesday before a Sunday game. But according to Nakobe Dean, some players went to Nick Sirianni this week and demanded that the pads go back on at practice yesterday to help get the swagger and aggression back to the forefront of everyone's minds.
Players with him and said, no more walk through Wednesdays. We gotta go. We gotta have fans on. But he probably gonna change the end of it. Nick Sirianni. It's not a big change now. 1 week without it, and then we seemed like we lost 2 games. So it's like, all right, get back in the paint. So yeah, I was superstitious now.
It was a good physical practice. It was.
Does that send a message to the team?
It's a good game, and we got to be the aggressor. We got to punch first. So
now I got to point out, it's not like they put the pads on yesterday at practice and were hitting each other and going crazy. It was like day 1 of training camp all over again. The pads were on. They did hit, but it wasn't crazy. It was smart hitting. It was more of just a message, an external message to make sure everybody understands we are not going to be out physical this weekend versus a very physical Viking team. And it's worth pointing out that Nick Sirianni did make this exact same decision at the exact same time last year, when Sirianni implemented full pads the Wednesday after the Week 5 bye, 1 game after a horrible tackling and overall terrible physical performance versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The result? Well, much like the offensive meeting that springboarded Saquon Barkley, Philadelphia vaulted to the top tackling team in the entire NFL, on a defensive run, the likes of which last year we've never really seen from an Eagles defensive unit. And I think we have to give credit to Nakobe Dean for spearheading the push to put the pads back on. Spurs linebacker seems to really be trying to, A, get back on the field himself, but also set the tone at practice and try and fix this defense. And not only does it sound like having Dean's voice back at practice is helping, it also sounds like we should expect a lot more snaps from number 17 this weekend versus the Vikings.
You know, we gotta pick up the nastiness, the violence, and the toughness of the group, and we gotta get our swagger back. And I feel like I don't feel like I know it's gonna happen.
It meant a lot, man. You know, just seeing him out there. You know, that's the same guy that was, you know, just helping our LB room. You know, be better LBs, and you know, just seeing that guy on the field. And I'm really excited to see him on the defense and make plays. You know, because I'm definitely gonna go celebrate with him. I know all the other guys are gonna go celebrate with him too, so it's gonna be special.
I do expect Nakobe Dean to actually play on defense this week. He had 6 snaps on special teams last week, got his feet wet. He's been practicing with that unit all week long. And the expectation is we should see him for certain packages, 10 plays, 15, 20, I don't know. But I do think you'll see Bond and Dean together at times and Jahad Campbell at the edge try to go ahead and fill the gap left by Zadarius Smith, and also just get Dean back out on the field because they think he's healthy, he thinks he's ready to go, and his voice could be a massive impact on trying to get this defense back on track. Now, it wouldn't be a pre-trade deadline show without a little bit of trade news update because we did get somewhat of a hint at what Howie Roseman's been doing behind the scenes this week. As yesterday, the latest report from ESPN stated, quote, the Eagles are lurking in the trade market and could look to upgrade at cornerback, edge, or even both at the deadline per ESPN. Keep in mind that Philadelphia has already made several trades, acquiring cornerback Jacorian Bennett, receiver John Mechie, and running back Tank Bigsby, and those moves haven't paid out just yet, end quote. Although one ESPN insider would also add that the trade market right now for edge rushers is a little bit oversaturated. There's not enough supply, and there's a ton of demand around the National Football League, and so the Birds want to make a move to lock up an edge, trade for an edge, get somebody to go get the quarterback. They're going to be in a bidding war, and that might raise the price. But let's be real, today was actually the very first legit day all year long where a real reporter gave us a real tie between the Eagles and superstar edge rusher Trey Hendrickson. As respected NFL insider Tony Pauline dropped his Thursday trade deadline article, which said, quote, the Philadelphia Eagles are another team expected to make a bid for Hendrickson, end quote. Now, before you get too excited, of course, as mentioned earlier, Philadelphia is not the only team in on the Hendrickson sweepstakes. As Pauline also mentioned, San Francisco, Indianapolis, and Dallas, interesting there, as 3 other options. But for as much speculation as everyone has had around Hendrickson in Philadelphia, we have never had a real reporter give us a real link to the two. Does this mean Howie gets the deal done? I don't know. But if I was Cincinnati, I would trade Trey Hendrickson out of the AFC, eliminating Indy, and pit Philadelphia, San Fran, and Dallas against each other, with the spoils going to the highest bidder. One thing that's for sure, though, is that I must clear up this ridiculous Twitter rumor that happened yesterday about New England edge rusher Yannick Ngakoue hinting that he wants to come to Philadelphia, which of course sent the Eagle blogs into a frenzy. People got all worked up. Oh my gosh, he's coming. Until you realize that all of this stems from one Yannick tweet on Wednesday that literally said this, ... let's go. Yeah, I was just as surprised as you were. I thought there must be more to the tweet. That's all Yannick Ngakoue said to get a bunch of Eagle people saying, oh my gosh, they're going to trade for him. He wants out of New England. Come to Philadelphia. There's no actual reporting behind this thing. Sure, Yannick could be hinting that he wants out of New England. Maybe he does. That tweet has nothing to do with Philadelphia. Will how you make the call? I don't know. But my job is to give you the facts and not try and pretend like, oh, there's a new edge rusher who's emerged as a target. He wants to come to Philadelphia just because people are willing it to happen. I do, of course, think Philadelphia is going to make a move. Is it going to be a major splash, a medium splash, a minor splash? I don't know. I think Ngakoue would be a minor splash. He's not the player he once was, 29 years old. We can go on and on about that, but I'm still holding out hope. What's important to remember, though, is that we're still 2.5 weeks from the November 4th trade deadline. And so while ESPN's Adam Schefter said, I talked about it on my Monday show, maybe trades start happening this week, my guess is people are going to hold out until the deadline because right now, if you're a seller, you hold all the power. The closer you get to a trade deadline, you lose that power, players become cheaper, and then Howie maybe makes a splash. So we'll cover it if it happens. We'll go live if it happens. Be sure to go ahead and subscribe, and also drop a like and comment Game Changers down below because, as mentioned at the start of the show, I have an extra $50 gift card to Game Changers website, Eagles t-shirt of your choice that I'm going to give away on Saturday's show, along with the Jordan Spector Art Jason Kelsey winner. I'm going to pick that and announce that on Saturday's show as well. And so make sure you guys have gotten your comments in and tune in to Saturday's show to see if you won. Plenty more stuff happening the next couple of days and weeks. Get ready for a Sunday, maybe a must win, maybe not a must win. Let's get to 5-2 versus the Vikings. Thomas Mott, this has been Thomas Mott Show.